to do this again one more real quick time. So Jason Beck. So I met Jason on the phone. I mean, how long ago? Was it a year ago?
A little bit over a year ago, actually.
Yeah. And then I was like, you were like, when are you going to be in Phoenix? I'm like, tomorrow. It feels like tomorrow. It wasn't tomorrow, but it was like,
Yeah.
we were then in Phoenix, and you open the door. You're like, oh, wait a minute. I forgot you were coming. Well, thank you, but I'm here. So anyway, we've just been in touch. So I love meeting you. I love that we're still in touch. I love that we still get to text you for Christmas and say, hey, Merry Christmas. Want to come work for us? Dominic and I have all these conversations. We're like, where's Jason? You know what? We should just offer Jason, like, what is it, Jason? Get over here. So anyway, so tell us about your new position.
I work for WSP Global. They're a global engineering and professional services firm. I'm in a unique group called Innovation Advisory, where we really work direct, usually with businesses, sometimes through the architect, on projects and portfolios and districts and municipalities, and helping people become data-driven organizations. So we help them architect their IT network and data streams in order to inform their personnel in order to achieve very predictive business outcomes. So whether it's a digital hospital and you're focusing on innovation of care, patient experience, and caregiver experience, or it could be an airport where there's really intense wayfinding and all types of services and things like that. As you know well, a lot of airports are becoming real destinations. And just helping everybody kind of figure out, hey, how can we maybe capture some more revenue, and then what type of an experience do we want to curate for the people that are coming through the airport on their either headed to someplace or coming from someplace.
Yeah, I'm traveling all the time. My biggest sorrow at the airports are the people that need wheelchairs, and they push them to where they get their suitcases and leave them there. And I'm like, excuse me, they still can't get their suitcase. So I've been like the ambassador. I look around, I'm like, who's leaving who in a wheelchair? That I run over. Oh, it's so much fun. Oh my God. It's so, but I'm just like, please don't leave them there. I mean, if they needed a wheelchair, they need help getting their suitcase. You know what I'm saying?
Without a doubt. Yeah, that seems to be somewhat of an oversight.
Yeah, I'm just like, okay, I'll fill in the gap. So anyway, it's amazing. But yeah, so so you're in California now. You were in Phoenix. You didn't sell your house.
Nope. So we're back and forth between Phoenix and Scottsdale still. I have some aging parents, some in-laws. So my father-in-law has liver cancer. So you could imagine he's got all kinds of doctor's appointments and everything like that. And my wife is a contract CFO for a like really high-end pool and hardscape company. And so as a result of that, she has a lot of flexibility in her job working hours, but she spends pretty much the other 2 days a week, like shuffling my in-laws around to, doctor's appointments and just all that stuff that comes with getting old.
Isn't it so weird? I mean, like, no one has any idea. Whenever, like, my mom just found out she has a heart issue, and I spent the last week, literally, that's why I'm in my car, actually, getting her back and forth to scans, and they want to put her on all this medicine. And I'm like, oh, no. We're going to treat everything homeopathically first. I mean, oh my, anyway, now I'm a professional in that because I know like what I need to do. But I learned it because I was just like, someone I love is suffering. And that's the worst thing, is to have someone suffer. Oh my God. And then that takes me to the construction industry, because every project is suffering.
Yep.
I'm just like, are you kidding me? It's been a complete eye opener on the projects of how much suffering goes on, of trying to find information. I mean, it's been crazy. So I guess I'm an ambassador for that. Stop suffering.
Yeah, well, you're well positioned for it. Your guys' platform is amazing and does deliver on that promise of stopping waste and misery on projects. So
yeah, well, we just secured $1 million policy that we'll spend up to $1 million for discovery. If someone needs, if something's there that there's a discovery need, because I mean, we have all the data. So now we have an insurance policy that says, here, we'll spend up to $1 million. We're that confident that you're not going to need to find anything. Isn't that crazy?
That's amazing. That's awesome.
Yeah. So I've actually been on the phone. I mean, that's been a whole nother adventure finding that support. But I'm like, the risk is low because we have all the data. What do you need to know? You know?
Yeah. No, and your guys' platform is an example of, to me, of an innovation that my group as an advisor to a portfolio owner or something like that could give them. Be like, hey, do you guys want to drastically reduce your waste and risk on your projects? Do you want to have everybody held accountable and change everybody into good behaviors by basically transparency and accountability? Well, I have just the tool for you. And ultimately, it's kind of strange. I think we were talking about that the kind of the topic of this is 2030 and where things are
Yeah.
headed. So I see this massive shift going on in society where it's kind of all of that, like the baby boomers, and they did do a lot of things, and the great generation did a lot of great things in this world, but they also screwed things up. They overspent, they created silos, they really weren't an inclusive society whatsoever. But ultimately, they're right now they're really drowning out the future of any young kid. So literally, I would say of Americans, probably in that generation, 70% of Americans lived really good lives. I'd
Yeah.
say now it's about 20% of millennials. Only about 18% of them can afford a home.
Yeah.
Think about that.
I
That's
know.
just not a sustainable way of going. And they've blown through all this money. We have all this debt. And what's happening? You see the Web 3.0, which is total accountability driven. It's getting rid of the Twitters and Facebook, and Metaverse might try to get in there, but I think they've damaged themselves too well to have credibility. Everybody just saying like, you know what, if you're just going to lie to me, I'm just going to go take my own path. And
Isn't that the truth?
cryptocurrencies and definance, they're just like, well, you're destroying our financial system. Thanks. We're just going to go a different route, and you guys can play with your misery over here.
Yes. Yeah.
And I think that that's gonna play out, because a lot of these things are built on contracting, on being able to generate contracts and have traceability.
Yeah.
That's going to drive itself into the construction world as well. That it's just going to be, hey, you know what? This is all about data. We can track where every single thing is. We
I just lost
know
your
what.
picture. There you
Oh,
are. Okay.
I'm sorry. Someone
That's okay.
tried to call me on the other line.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Um,
Okay.
you know, people, I know where all the materials are. They're all tracked. They're all, you know what I mean? That's the way everything's going. It's all accountability. And so
I know.
lying and cheating and stealing aren't going to get you anywhere in the future. So
No.
if that's your modus operandi currently, you're going to become obsolete really quickly.
Yeah.
So good honest behavior, and it's very big brotherish, but unfortunately our big brother failed us. So
Yeah.
now we have to become our own big brother.
Yeah.
And the way to do that is basically through these new tools that just are like, hey, we're not, it's just sheer transparent accountability. And I really think that that's the way everything's going to go. And I think it's great because it 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 goes back to the types of behaviors that a system like yours is trying to
Yeah.
institute anyway. And
Yeah.
sometimes, I'm not saying everybody's malicious or anything like that. Some people just don't know, or they're not sophisticated enough, and this allows them a way to just understand and learn along the way, and then they can operate that way from there forward, and they'll be way more efficient. Because
Yeah.
you think
I
about
know.
all the effort that people put into trying to cover things up and do this or do that. Ultimately, if they were just focused on adding value, they'd be better off in the long run. So would the
I
project, and
know.
so would their relationships with all their tradespeople and fellow
Yes.
contractors and their clients. So
Yeah.
I'm
Well,
I'm,
that's
I'm
what
actually.
I just did a big article in Airport Improvement Magazine, and it basically says because of Dominic's history and his company going out of business, the general contractor single-handedly has put the subcontractors out of business because they have to be low bid, but not fair bid. They have to be out there and they're busting their ass trying to do their trade, but then they have to try to go through some trickery dickery system and try to find the data they need to make a decision. And it's like, no, they're artisans, I was speaking at a conference and I called them artisans, and the guy's like, those are beer people. I'm like, okay, they're not artisans, but they're artisans. Okay, fine. You know what I'm saying? It was hilarious. It was just like, okay, it's true.